a section
Just do a
that.
search for pinball power couple, and you'll find each story.
Oh, if the penny bites back.
I talked about the fact that most of the machines will be playable, which I said is a technical feat in and of itself. Keeping them running
Yes.
and keeping them in good enough shape.
Right.
To do that with 120 machines, that is going to take a lot of resources.
I'll buy. I know where to buy them.
Okay, we're editing that out. Right? That
I
right?
know where to buy them.
It's unacceptable.
Hello, my name is Jamie Burchell, and welcome to Wormhole Pinball Presents. You are either listening to and or watching our podcast, and today I'm very, very excited to be joined by two great individuals. One, a very, very close friend of mine, Christine Hood.
Thank you, Jamie. I'm happy to be here.
How are you?
I'm
And
doing great. I'm
of
doing
course, we are joined by retired Houston Chronicle reporter and current freelancer. He's
Right.
written a couple of
I
pinball
put it
articles.
like retired. That's
Okay.
because that's what it feels like. It's retired.
That's
What's-
what he's what do you call it when you're manifesting?
Yeah.
Oh, you're manifesting
Oh,
retirement.
nice.
Yes, I wish. It doesn't like in no day that I have do I feel like I've can sit back, relax, and go fishing. It just hasn't been
Well,
like that.
come fishing with me and Tim. We'll take you fishing. We love
Exactly.
to fish.
We have this great place we're going to check out sometimes also.
Yeah, we are. So welcome back to the Wormhole, Dwight. We thought, hey, let's do a podcast because you've written two great articles about pinball, one more concentrated about the person to your left. So what we thought is let's go through a little origin story first. Let's let our audience know where you're coming from.
Okay.
And then we'll go back and forth. Very informal interview. We'll go
Okay.
from there if that's
All right.
okay.
That's great.
Christine, start us off.
All right. Dwight, where were you born?
Oh, that's an easy one. Jacksonville, Florida,
Okay.
but I lived there probably for about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And my dad was with Zales Jewelers,
Okay.
and it was like being in the military. We moved around all the time. He was like a troubleshooter.
Okay.
So he would be sent one place that was not doing well in the company. He'd build it up and then say, okay, go over here and build. And so it was, I went to different high school every year I was in high school.
Oh, goodness.
But I was born in Jacksonville,
Okay.
Florida.
So it definitely shapes you as a person to move around so much.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I feel like I can make friends easily. I get to know people easily. And also I like change. If things aren't changing, I kind of get a little antsy. So
Bored?
No, not bored, but I look for things that are new. I want things that are new. It's on one of my 700 social media profiles. I have say, don't tell me where we've been, show me where we're going. And that's kind of the way, that's kind of my mantra.
I like that. I like that. So how did you come to be writing articles for the Houston Chronicle?
At the time that I was doing journalism, and I started in journalism, and it's still kind of this way.
Okay.
I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin.
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em. In the
Florida Southern Moccasin.
I can go with that. I can go with that.
There's 2,800 of us that graduated.
My wife went to New College.
Okay.
And so she I know the Florida colleges.
All right, there you go. Flank Lord Light.
Anyway, so so where were we? Oh yes. So I was at the University of Texas. I graduated from there. I got a job at the Beaumont Enterprise.
Okay.
Like quickly, I was surprised how quickly I got a job. And because this was the time, this was like just after All the President's Men came out.
Okay.
And everybody.
God, I
wanted to
love that movie.
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen
indeed.
it.
Yes.
Literally, it's like a ruin for me when it's
Yes.
on like TNT.
Yeah.
There goes my day.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's done.
It's
Done.
great
Over.
movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. But everybody wanted to be Woodward and Bernstein, including
Sure.
a lot of people who shouldn't have been Woodward and Bernstein. And I had already said, I want to be a journalist. I was already doing this before that happened. And but so I surprised I got a job quickly. And the job I got was I was both the religion editor and the rock critic at the Beaumont Enterprise.
Okay. Okay.
Mainly because the person who I replaced, who left, was the religion editor and assistant entertainment writer. That was, it's a small paper, so you fill in.
Sure.
And at the Daily Texan, I
Oh.
had been a music critic.
Yes. Okay.
And this was during the Jerry Jeff Walker, Willie Nelson,
Oh,
Rusty
my
Weir
goodness.
era.
Yes.
And I was writing there, and I also did movie reviews and so forth. But this is an opportunity to write about what I wanted to write about. I didn't think that I'd be able to do that straight out of school. And so I got this job at the Beaumont Enterprise, and it was, and while I don't think I'd ever want to live in Beaumont again, sorry, Beaumont.
Nothing personal, Beaumont.
No, it is kind of personal, but
Oh, okay.
We have
Okay.
a good pinball scene involved, but
Yeah.
we got some friends over there. You're shitting all over them.
Yeah, we're not shitting on y'all. We promise. It
okay, all right.
has
Okay,
nothing to do with you.
all right.
It's all
So-
Dwight's baggage.
Yes, it is. Yes. So anyway, because I was doing these two jobs, I had like probably the first scoop of my career, which was I was the first person to write that Bob Dylan had become a born again Christian.
Oh my goodness.
So remember he did this
How
album
fortuitous is
called
this?
Slow Train Coming. It
Yes.
was actually a pretty big hit. It was a great album. But Beaumont has this community of Christian rock musicians. And they had heard this he was out in California, and they'd heard this from, their network that Dylan was exploring Christian music.
Okay.
And so I started kind of looking into it, and I wound up getting in touch with his manager
Okay.
and talking on the phone to him. And he says, how did you learn this? And I told him, and he said, well, yeah, it's true.
Okay.
And so we did this. I never got to talk to Dylan.
I was going to say he's quite reclusive.
Yes.
He is quite a reclusive person, does not give interviews, doesn't sign a lot of memorabilia either, I don't believe.
Right. You're right. He does. At least he didn't then. I think he's a little more open now than
Is he?
used to be.
Okay.
But so I had this great scoop, and in fact, being a young reporter and overzealous, I did like part 1 and part 2 columns on it. So it was a lot of fun, and it kind of it got my name out there because I had done this.
That's fantastic.
And I went from there to the San Antonio Light, and worked at the San Antonio Light for a while. I then joined the startup in the 80s, the San Antonio Current, which is still in existence. It's kind of like the Houston Press was here.
Okay.
And they ran out of money, and so I ran out of a job, and wound up doing some freelance for the Chronicle, and then eventually they hired me in 1990 as an assistant state editor. By 93, they had an opening on the business desk to write about tech, and I said, pick me.
Right.
And so that's how I got into tech.
Fantastic. And that's how you got into the Chronicle. And
Yes. Yep.
what a journey, an interesting journey.
It was fun. And my wife, who is a psychotherapist,
Okay.
and we have my brother and sister are both physicians. He's like my brother-in-law is ear, head, and neck and brain surgeon,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's like, and my wife and I are always looking at each other going, we went in the wrong profession. But you know what? No, I didn't.
You're having fun.
I've had too much fun, and that's why you do it. That's why you do it.
And I think that's evident in your smile through your eyes and your enthusiasm speaking about your career.
Oh, I wouldn't do it if it was like, if I was just saving lives, it wouldn't be as much fun.
Who wants to do that?
Who wants to save lives?
All right, not a pinball question, but you recently served as technology reporter. We just talked about that.
Mhm.
But what do you think about this? And this is a question I kind of got from her husband, Tim.
Mhm.
What do you think about the new AI craze? That tablets, everything's going to be AI enabled in the next probably 3 to 6 months.
Mhm, mhm.
What are you getting the MacBook Pro enabled? Because I know you're a Mac guy.
I picked up today. I went down to the Highland Village Apple store, and I got the new iPad Pro,
Okay.
which they're touting as lots of AI. In June, Apple will do its worldwide developer conference,
Right.
and we'll see what the
Always.
software does.
Right.
And I've covered so many of these like big trends, and I've seen a lot of them like shoot into the sky and fizzle out like a firework, and then there's nothing there. The things that stick around, what's interesting is I got to cover the rise of the internet. I one time had a Compaq computer company executive tell me that he thought my writing about the internet probably got more people on the internet in that era in Houston than anything else.
Oh, that's
So
remarkable.
and because I was writing about it a lot. And the internet obviously was not a fad, although a lot of people predicted it was at the time. But what's kind of has happened to the internet is, yeah, we have the internet, but the presence of it, the thing itself, has kind of faded into the background. Now we have streaming television, which comes over the internet, but people kind
And
of don't
pinball,
think,
Dwight.
and pinball, right? And pinball.
Don't be glossing over the
Internet-
pinball
internet-
here, okay?
internet- We'll get to the pinball.
I'm kidding.
But essentially, like the internet has become like plumbing, right?
Yes.
And it enables all these other things. And I think what's going to happen is that AI, if it doesn't flame out in some way, is going to be the new plumbing, and it will be what runs everything.
Okay.
So today I got a demo. I had not tried these yet. Meta, which is Facebook
Sure.
parent
Facebook.
company,
Of course.
they also own Oculus, which is the
Right.
the headset company. So they have these Ray-Ban glasses that are AI powered glasses. And you put them on, and not only do you look really cool because you're wearing Ray-Bans, but you can supposedly use the AI to do things like get directions and translate a menu and take a picture of something and tell you what it is.
Take a picture and tell me where to shoot a pinball.
Maybe,
I mean, really?
but
Exactly.
but
Calculate the
tell you-
trajectory of the pinball off the flipper.
it was a demo, but the guy who was giving me the demo, it was like one fail after the other.
Oh, yeah.
It's called demo hell. when
Yeah.
you're doing that, right? And it was one hell after the other, and he kept saying, "Well, soon it won't do that. Soon it won't," and that's
Right.
kind of where we are now,
Okay.
right? And but I'm the skeptic journalist in me says, not yet. Keep watching.
Okay. Because
And see how it's
I think there's going to be a run on computers come Christmas.
that could be.
I do. And I think you're going to look at organizations say, oh, I can gain 15 minutes extra a day per employee.
Mhm.
That's 3,000 per employee. Yeah. Done deal.
Or I could lose 20 employees because I have this.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's
Like,
that's
I mean,
the downside.
honestly. So, AI just entered pinball,
Uh-huh.
weirdly enough,
Uh-huh.
right? The new Stern game is John Wick.
Yes.
And I wrote it down so I wouldn't screw this up. The game called John Wick will introduce Stern's new AI combat system. So if you're a video game guy and you're doing too well and you make a turn and you go down a different path, they'll bring in different they'll bring in different weapons and different people. Well, they're doing the same thing here. It's going to control the lights on the play field. And the system is responsive to the player behavior and is built to challenge players for boosted action. So there you go, AI and pinball.
Yes, and it needs to be what AI needs to be successful is that you don't realize AI is happening.
Right.
It needs to be in the background. That's one of the things I'm interested in what Apple does with it, because Apple tends to not say, okay, here is our feature. And instead, it just happens, and it happens smoothly. And if they can pull that off in the way they always have, with what's coming, they're behind right now.
They are, yeah.
Right,
But
absolutely.
if anybody can do it so that you don't know it's AI,
happening.
it's happening, but it's just kind of like magic, then that's great. Google has really interesting AI powered photo features where you can, like, if you have a Google Pixel phone and there's like, take a picture in the park and there's a bunch of people in the park and you just want your wife walking down the road in the sunset looking good, you can go and you can circle those other people and the AI removes it.
Okay.
And so that's a good use of AI. They call it Magic Editor. And so
Yeah,
when you
it's just
do
going to
that-
get better and better and better.
Right. And that's kind of the way it is. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. And it's done. It doesn't say, okay, AI working, it just does it. And that's kind of what needs to happen, I think.
So AI seems like quite a divisive topic. I feel that there are people out there who fear AI taking over, especially as you're saying, if it's linked into the internet and it's in the plumbing, so to speak. And then there are people who welcome it and think that it's the best thing, that this is our future. What's your opinion on that?
A lot of our opinions about technology come from science fiction. And a lot of this is driven, I think, by what we've seen in movies like 2001,
Right.
Yeah.
The
Space Odyssey.
There's a movie I gave a talk to a group shortly after the AI thing started in late 2022, and I used a clip of a now unintentionally hilarious trailer for a movie called Colossus: The Forbin Project.
Okay.
And it is essentially about
Someone's
Look
going to
at
Google.
pinball name.
Hopefully someone Googles
Google
that.
this now,
it's
please.
it's definitely worth seeing. It's definitely worth seeing.
Okay.
The trailer, I think the movie looks like it's awful.
All right.
But it's essentially a supercomputer that becomes so smart and takes over the Earth's systems and says, you either do what I say or I'll kill you all. That is the kind of science fiction thing that is kind of in our cultural collective memory. That's kind of what we think of when we think of stuff like this.
Okay.
And I think while it's certainly possible that a super smart AI could get hold of systems and make trouble, I don't necessarily think that that's what's going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that a lot of people are going to lose their jobs because it's easy for the machine to do it.
Sure.
But whenever there's this kind of disruption, there's other jobs that are created.
Of course.
There's other, and so what you end up with is kind of a balance. And there will be a period of pain, just like the internet created a period of pain. I mean, the newspaper industry, right, is still in that pain. And so, but ultimately, you're in the middle of change, and you don't know what it's like on the other end of that line.
Right.
And so I think we just have to kind of wait and see. How's that for a wishy-washy answer?
It is completely
That's all
wishy-washy.
right. It was.
What I've concluded from that is that you did not actually state an opinion
Yeah,
there.
I just
think
wanted,
there's
it was
a
like
lot of
3
facts.
minutes.
Because my opinion is, after decades of covering this, is you gotta wait and see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gotta wait and see.
All right, Christine, I'm going to put you on that question right there.
Great. Okay, let's turn to pinball.
Okay.
Last year, you wrote an article for the Houston Chronicle titled "Pinball is Bouncing Back into the Hearts of Texans."
I don't write the headlines. I'll just say that.
We're going to chat
We're
about
gonna
that.
chat
Oh,
about
don't
that
worry,
later.
Okay.
Dwight, that's coming.
Okay.
We got to talk about
I'm
that.
here to spend time
And
on this podcast.
I fully expect it. I fully expect it.
I saw the look on your face when you saw me standing here. You knew I was coming for you. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I saw your car out there. so-
Okay. Yeah, you knew I was here.
Your
Okay.
car is distinctive.
Yes, it is. It is. And no, I'm not a vindictive person. So I'm not coming for you. That's all meant in affection.
Mhm.
So, okay. You wrote this article
Mhm.
for Houston Chronicle, and the initial article was following Phil Grimaldi as he played the TPF
Mhm.
Wizards Tournament,
Mhm.
Texas Pinball Festival Wizards Tournament in 2023.
Right.
Okay. How did you happen upon Wormhole? How did you go from that into Wormhole? Like when was
Well, Wormhole was a part of that story.
Yeah, but I
Yes, it
think
was.
initially you were following Phil through TPF, and then he kind of mentioned us. I think is that what happened? Or, we've always been curious, like how did you kind of come about us? All of a sudden, one day you're interviewing us here.
So when the reason I wound up doing that story is, and we have to go back to the University of Texas when I was a student there. Yes, hook 'em.
Hook 'em?
And I was a student there, and I was and I played a lot of pinball. There was a game room I don't know if it's still there, in the basement of Jester Center.
Yes.
And there was a place on the drag called Le Fun.
Yes.
And I spent many quarters at both of those places.
Awesome.
Yes.
I skipped classes in order to play pinball.
I
at
know
these
someone who
places.
also did that.
Yes. I think it's a common malady.
Yes, it is.
And so I loved pinball, and when I started dating my wife, and when we were married, we were young and we were poor, we kind of had 3 things we did for entertainment. We taped every episode each week of video on VHS tape.
Yes.
Late Night with David Letterman, and then on the weekends we would binge it.
Okay.
And we
Binging back then.
I know.
back then. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, on your VCR.
Yeah.
And we played Nintendo Famicom, the original Nintendo.
Okay.
We played Super Mario Brothers.
Wow.
Okay. Your wife sounds pretty cool.
She is
Pretty cool.
Cool. She was, and we would go out and play pinball because it was
Okay.
relatively cheap. and pool. And so I continued to do it, but once I had kids, you know, and this is true, I think, of a lot of the people who I see at Wormhole, a lot of people who are my age or maybe down into their late 40s, mid 40s. They played it when they were younger and it dropped away, and then they kind of rediscover it. They may have money to buy their own at this point.
Sure.
And so I decided my wife was going to go out of town to see her sister. And I decided that since she was going out of town and there was this pinball festival
So funny.
happening
play
in
pinball.
Dallas.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'll just go there and, you know, she'll go and see her sister and I'll go and play pinball. But I also knew it like cost money to go up there and I'm a freelancer, right?
Okay.
So everything I do is on my dime. And
Okay.
I don't have a company behind me. So I went to the Chronicle and I said, I want to do a story on this festival and I want to see if there's
Clever,
if
right?
there's anything local about it,
Okay.
right? And so
I like that.
I started asking around and found Phil and found I just like did Houston Pinball and that kind of got me what I
Sure.
needed. So
Space City
Space
Pinball
City
League.
Pinball, right. And the reason I
Absolutely.
focused on Phil was that n- s- journalists, editors want you to have a focus on something.
Yes.
And the focus then illuminates what's around it. And he was an interesting guy, and he was ranked. You know, I think
Absolutely.
he was
Yeah.
higher ranked last year than he is this year. But he was ranked, and so I thought, okay, well, this would be cool. I'll follow him. And so I went up there. I got the Chronicle to agree to a story,
Okay.
and
move.
which covered my
Well done.
expenses, and I got to play pinball. And so I went up there and I did it. And I, you know, did the story. But what happens is when you talk to people, you learn a bunch of other things. I found out about Wormhole, which was really interesting. The concept is like, whoa, it was
Thank
really
you.
interesting. And so I included that. I came here during a tournament. I talked to you.
Yes.
I talked to you. I
Yes.
talked to a bunch of other people. And then I wrote the story. And what was interesting was I discovered that there is this really robust community here that a lot of people in Houston don't know about.
Right.
It's self-sustaining. It has its own culture. Everybody is like nice. It's like
Yes.
Yes.
kind of like
They actually are.
They really,
They
really
actually
are.
are.
right. It's
We
like,
are, right?
yes, yes.
We are.
It's like I was almost I'm a journalist. I'm suspicious. It's like somewhere I'm going to open a door and there are the bodies in the basement, right?
Right.
People are too nice. And that was true at the people I met at the pinball festival. It's true
Absolutely.
about you guys.
Thank you.
And so I really enjoyed it. And my intent ultimately was to like start playing, but I didn't. So the next one comes around and I go, you know what? This time I'm going to go up there and I'm just going to go for fun. I'm not going to do work. And my wife said,
Is that
so
possible? How do you
well,
separate the curiosity that is just intrinsic to you from
well, I didn't
I
want to
mean,
redo the same story and I didn't know
sure.
what story was there.
Got it.
Right.
But my wife said, oh, so you're going to go up there and spend money and you're not going to get the story? And I said, okay, I'll ask. And so I went to I knew the Chronicle didn't want to do something else on it. And I didn't want to do the same story. So I wanted to focus on you and Tim because last year when I talked to
So
everybody,
now you're talking about the second article.
yes,
Okay.
how one
Okay.
led to the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I talked to you guys, and Tim was not available to talk to
Right.
last year.
That's
And
right.
I was able to talk to you, but everybody I talked to said, "Oh, you got to meet Tim. You got to meet Tim."
Yeah.
Particularly Phil. "Oh, you got to meet Tim."
Oh, interesting. That's
And
nice.
so that was kind of in the back of my mind. So I thought, okay, what if I focus it on Wormhole this time?
Okay.
And I thought about the Chronicle isn't going to want that. So what the hell? I'll see if Texas Monthly wants something.
Fantastic.
So I approached somebody at Texas Monthly who I know, who's a good friend. And she said, you know, that sounds like a really good story. That isn't one that I, as an editor, would handle. Go talk to this editor. So I emailed this other editor and I said, you know, she's not interested in it, but says you are. She said, you know, that sounds like a really good story, but I'm not the editor who do that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to send you to this guy.
Okay.
And he handles sports.
So you're bouncing off the
Yeah.
side rail,
Yes.
you know, down the
Yes.
side rails, and your
Yes. Yes.
little pinball
So-
analogy, like they flipped you off to the
Yes.
next.
I was hitting bumpers.
Yes.
And so they finally tossed me to the sports editor. And Texas Monthly doesn't do a lot of sports. I mean, in fact, he's not like on staff. He's actually a contract editor, which is common in the
Oh, okay.
magazine business. And so I emailed him and didn't hear anything. And I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to go play. I'm just going to go have fun.
Okay.
And then 2 days before I was going to leave, he emails me, "Hey, that sounds like a great story. Let's do it." And I was like,
Okay.
"Oh man, I don't want to work."
Yeah. Wow. Now you got to do it.
But it's Texas Monthly, and you know,
Yeah.
Texas Monthly is a big deal. Texas Monthly there's kind of two Texas Monthlies. There's the website,
Right.
which is actually a really robust, most of their copy goes on the website, and there's really good stories there. And then there's the print magazine, which is kind of a different thing, and they seem to serve two different audiences. And sometimes stuff online gets pulled into
Migrates.
print.
Okay.
Right, gets pulled
Okay.
into print. This one did not.
But
But
your next article will, your follow-up article?
yes, yeah. Well, I don't know. Right now, I'm looking into a story about cats at an old folks' home, so maybe
Okay.
not.
Okay.
But
That's not our audience.
no, it's not. But it's a great story.
I'm sure it is. I'm going to read it
Yes.
because I follow you on all the socials.
So-
But
So anyway, so I decided I was going to do that, and I reached out to you guys. And one of the things about this story was that every time I talked to somebody new, it opened up another rabbit hole with this
Yes.
story.
I know we've talked about so many
and
things.
including many things that did not make it in the story. But to give you two examples, so one of them was when I talked to Tim at the Pinball Festival, he mentioned Dan Ferguson and the Lone Star Pinball Museum.
Yes. Yes.
And
I know that
and,
intrigues you.
and it really intrigued me.
I know.
And so I thought, I need to find this out. And of course, Dan died in late 2019.
Right.
His family does not want to reopen the pinball museum and doesn't even want any collectors or anything buying or even going in and looking at it.
Right.
It's done. And but I wanted to see it, and so I drove out there to Holly.
Right.
And
we're laughing because we're starting to know Dwight. And we're laughing because we're really starting to get to know you over the course of last year.
Tell me about something.
And yeah, I love
look
it.
at
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
And
You're,
I
do not give up.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
I drove out there, and what's interesting is the building is there, and there's a sign in the window with a phone number. And I walked around, I took pictures, and so I sat in my car out front, and I called Dan Ferguson's widow, who was that phone number, and she basically said no and hell no.
Right.
And then at the end of the conversation, she said, is there a bunch of trash out in front of the building? And I said, there's a few beer bottles. Yeah, I'm going to have to come over there and pick those up. There's that bar over there, and people come over and drink, and they drop their beer bottles on the grass outside. I want to come over there and pick those up. I
All right.
almost
Then.
said, would you like me to pick them up for you? And then we can talk.
Then we can talk.
No,
Exactly.
but I didn't.
I'll do you a favor. You do me a
That's
favor.
right.
Just give me a peek.
That's right.
Peeking in the window is not sufficient.
That's right. That's right. So
Clearly, you were not on camera either.
no, I was not on camera.
Yes.
So another one was another rabbit hole that I went down was had to do with the local Houston Pinball Arcade. And the owner of that, the guy who started that, I'm blanking on his name.
Is that Einstein's?
The
NASA?
Houston Pinball Arcade, the Houston Arcade Expo.
Oh yeah, Keith
Oh,
Christensen.
Keith Christensen.
Right,
Yes.
right. And so we talked quite a
Fantastic.
bit about his collection. I was trying to find out another rabbit hole. I was trying to find where Tim fit among the collectors
As far as
in Texas.
number of machines.
Right. And it looks
Right.
like he's number one, and I'm trying to make sure.
We'll get him a plaque.
And so I probably spent 2 days trying to figure this out, and I just assumed. But anyway, so in talking to Keith, and then Keith told me all this stuff about about his collection and how it came to be. And he's about to open another arcade. And,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, it was like,
And he's a fascinating, interesting
Yes,
guy as
yes.
well.
I had him on the podcast
Oh,
early on.
oh, I'll have to go look at that.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do like him. And so I went in and when I was writing it, I really wanted to use more from that, but that was a rabbit hole that I could only, like I just mentioned briefly, you know,
Right.
him. And so, I mean, I even went in and I scraped the data from the pinball owners database.
On
and
pin
did s-
side or
no, pinball owners. I think it's
Okay.
called pinball
actual
owners.
pinball owners?
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I'm
And
not familiar with that site. Yeah.
and I may be misremembering. You know, once the story's gone, it's like, okay, erase
It's
it,
probably
memory
pin
back.
side.
Now you're on to cats.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I was like scraping the data from the pinball thing and building spreadsheets so I could figure out who was what. Didn't use any of that, unfortunately. But okay, so then after I talked to you and I talked to Tim, and I was lucky enough to get to visit your home and see the collection in there and the artwork and the dogs.
Yes.
Dogs are great.
The dog
They're the
beds.
best.
Yes.
And for example, Tim showed me all these Austin punk rock posters that he's collected.
Yes.
And I
was-
wanted to mention that, but I couldn't do it. So, you know, you kind of go down these rabbit holes in a story like this. But what really cemented the story was, and I almost didn't do it, was getting the opportunity to see the building,
the museum
the
building.
museum building.
Okay.
And when I saw that, I actually had been struggling with the structure of it. I actually went back and looked at it at one point, then read the Chronicle story, and I was recreating the Chronicle story. And I was going, no,
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Done that.
So I was frustrated. I went and looked at the building.
You and I spent the day looking
Yes,
at the building. What a
yes.
great afternoon we had.
Yes, yes.
It was so much
yeah,
fun,
Yeah.
Jamie.
yeah, except for the poo. But
Well, you know, sometimes you get vagrants.
Some-
And there's vagrants.
sometimes
It's an
will
old
be
building.
poo. Sometimes
It's an old
That's
building.
the movie poo.
Yes,
It happens, Dwight.
it does, and it did. So
Can I say that on here, Jamie?
You can do whatever you
it's a
want.
podcast. Yeah, it's expected.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
So anyway, yes, and what I decided when I saw that is that the building had to be the focus.
Okay.
That the building was its own character. You know, there was Wormhole itself as a character.
Yeah.
There was you guys as a character. There was Dan Ferguson actually was a character in it. You know, he was because a lot of what he did informed what happened later. And he also co-founded the Texas Pinball Festival.
Yes.
And so
Actually, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
Dan Ferguson did.
yes, because I talked to one of the other founders and he said, yeah, that he
Okay,
was one of the
okay.
original co-founders. So
I have no idea what you're saying could be complete wrong. But
Huh?
we're gonna keep going
this
with
is
it.
I'm going to fact check
this-
you later.
this is
Oh.
what I was told.
That's the
Those-
greatest
Have
reporter
a
line.
fact.
That's a good reporter line.
This
This
is
is
what
what
I
I was
was
told.
told.
That's right.
Actually, what we'll do is our fact checking department will
Yeah.
call you for a follow up
Okay,
interview
Okay, sure.
and fact
yeah,
check
We'll
you on
get that right.
Sure. And I'll just laugh uproariously. So anyway, so once I had that, and so I went on vacation. I went to see some friends in Albuquerque. I love New Mexico and I love any opportunity. I was looking
Actually-
forward to a vacation there, but had not finished the story. And I kept telling the editor, it'll be ready next week. It'll be ready next week. It'll be ready. And and he wasn't in a rush because it was not a time oriented story, but I was in a rush because I wanted to do it right. And I was writing for Texas Monthly. So, I went on this vacation, and basically my wife and our friends went and vacated, and I sat in my friend's office doing this.
Got it.
And finally I came out and I finished it and I sent it off, and then I got to have like a day and a half of vacation after that. But it was very difficult. But seeing it with you crystallize the story, and so the focus was you, Wormhole, and the building. And one of the things you set me straight on, which I am glad I got to put in the story, is that the Wormhole effort is a collective, you know, that everybody contributes to it.
That's right.
And you know, people who are listening to this or watching it, you know, it looks pretty cool, but you have no idea how cool this
Hmm.
place is. And
Thank you, Dwight.
it's largely because of what's here and the vibe and the care that's taken in it. And so I tried to communicate some of that in what the museum may become. So I talked about, for example, the fact that you're interested in doing like private rooms where you can order the pinball machines you want to play and they'll bring them to you.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so
How cool is that going to be?
it's right. I mean, I will probably lose some money setting up one of those rooms. But anyway,
You keep writing articles, we might be able to get you in there.
I think there's a book coming out of this. Like it's a book, a documentary, and I do want to talk with you about those specific items as we go through this.
okay, all right.
Coming as we get to the
I'll
end.
shut up but that's basically how it came together and kind of how it was. It was very hard to write, but in the end, after I saw it, the building, it all coalesced.
Because that's where we're what we're moving toward.
Oh, well, the building has that building. I mean, I almost wish that you could have like a time tunnel in the middle of the building where you could see what it was like before and you see what it's like now. And when you see what it's like, I mean, what it will be. And when you see that, you can totally get it. I can totally see what it's going to be in there. And you articulated the vision for it very, very well.
Oh, thank you.
And
I have some questions about that vision later.
Do you really?
I do, actually.
okay.
But you're going to ask.
This is not on the script,
I know.
Jamie Burchell. Jamie Burchell.
Does it sound like there's
We
going
need
to
to
be
chat.
more work?
Sidebar.
No, it's some of the questions. All right, well, we're there, so we might as well go to it, right? I'll ask her and you some questions, all right?
All right.
Okay.
Are you going to ask her some?
Well, I'm going to ask her some questions, and
Do I
it's gonna,
need to cough and leave?
no, it's going to be good. What it'll do is it'll spark a conversation about the museum.
All right. Okay. All right.
Yes. But before we do that, I do want to acknowledge one thing you said. And you know how much I harped on this, and you know how much it was important to me and to Tim to really make sure that it was clear that, yes, we understand that there needs to be a focus within the Texas Monthly article, but it really is all of us. And for Tim and for me, we don't consider ourselves any more important or any more of contributors. We pale in comparison, we feel like, to all the efforts that are put forth by the Wormhole Five, by Jamie, by Janine, by John, and then there's Tim and me. And that's just scraping the surface of so many countless hours of amazing tech work, amazing people being here, just making the culture evolve. We did not create this culture ourselves. We started this spark that's really grown into this, but it's evolved on its own. And it's very much a collaborative effort. So it was a little uncomfortable, actually, to have an article be published that focused on Tim and me, because we don't consider ourselves a power couple, Dwight.
And as I said, when I
we're getting our t-shirts already made. So you're
right.
should I cancel that order?
That's right.
Because it says power couple on the back.
Cancel.
Okay, all right.
No.
I thought that was happening. Okay,
So-
sorry.
It might be happening. If it does, then we're gonna have to chat. We'll laugh.
Well, so, first of all, I agree with you to a certain extent. The structure of a story, particularly for a magazine focused publication like Texas Monthly, they want to focus. They want something that is entree to the rest of it. So you guys talk about a spark. You are a spark that illuminates the rest of it, but you're the spark. And so that's kind of was the attitude towards it. But also the building was a spark.
Okay.
To me, I almost there's a version of the story that starts with Christine Hood saying, "Look out for the poo," and it almost starts like that. And I thought about doing that, but the scene with Tim in the vault with these people coming in going, "What the hell is this?"
So the vault, let's take a 20-second and explain what the vault is. So the vault is a property that Tim and Christine own,
Mhm.
that they have turned into a pinball staging area, if you will, for the Wormhole and eventually for the museum.
Yes.
There have been multiple iterations of this vault. It is moving. We don't need to talk about that. We can just say that there is a vault, and you went to see it, and there's a ton of cool pinball machines in there, isn't there?
Yes, it's really amazing. And I kind of was like going, I wish these things were like set up because, there was one, I took a couple of pictures of it. There's one, a pinball game just called Punk.
Yeah.
And it had like silhouettes of,
Rock
rock
stars.
stars.
Yeah.
Well, but it was generic rock stars.
Right.
It's generic punk. And I really wanted to see that. I wanted to play that. It was a really interesting, and it was broken down. It wasn't
Okay.
set up.
So you guys could have set that up.
Well, yeah, he probably could. The other issue from that particular vault, because there's going to be another vault, but that vault, we got into trouble. I'll tell this story very quickly. We got in trouble because we were playing very loudly and the neighbors weren't really excited. About 2 a.m, we're playing Terrific Lake, which is a really fun, weird, old, kind of cool, rare machine.
Exactly.
And it was just, we had the sound
Were you
cranked
in the
up.
house or in the vault?
The vault.
The vault.
Okay. All right.
So the
Yeah.
vault backs up to an apartment building with
Mhm.
residential tenants.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the backside of that.
Oh,
So
I see.
they didn't
We
really.
thought it was concrete, that it would be okay, but not so
Not
for
so
Terrific
good.
Lake.
Well, when you go in there and you put the volume all the way up,
That
when
was,
you push the button
we
all
had to
until
test it.
Mhm.
yes, I
We
think
had to
that's
test it.
essential.
We
It's
had to
essential
test
to the
it.
pinball process.
I mean, that's the whole point of the vault. Because, I mean, if you look at his collection, their collection,
Yeah.
there's museum pieces
Mhm,
here.
mhm.
Okay, this isn't, when you look at museums and you think of a museum, you instantly think of the museum in Vegas,
Mhm.
which is the pinball museum, right? And I'm not going to disparage those people. I've done that enough on these podcasts, but we're not going to be anything like that museum.
Oh my goodness.
No way. This is going to be, unbelievable machines and top of the line and in perfect shape. Because if you come to the Wormhole, Dwight, here's a little advertisement for us.
Mhm.
These machines play great. And we'll talk about the list of grievances in our Wednesday night thing that we want to do here in a minute. But that's because of our techs and all these people that
Well,
make
one
this
of the
great.
things
That's
I
right.
said in the story, I talked about the fact that most of the machines will be playable, which I said in the story is a technical feat in and of itself, keeping them running
Yes.
and keeping them in good enough shape. To
Right.
do that with 120 machines, that is going to take a lot of resources.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to mention that because I was impressed with it. And what's funny is when you go to like a big festival or a big competition, one of the things that I really loved at the Texas Pinball Festival in the competitions was when a machine goes down, like 8
It's
guys
swarmed.
depend on it
Yes.
and to work on it.
Yes.
And
It's swarm.
and the first time I was there, I was in there with my phone going, play.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just really impressed with with that intensity. And then what I did one of the stories I also have done is on I wrote about the launch of Labyrinth
Mhm.
and
Barrels of
how
Fun.
and how Barrels of Fun came to be. And one of the things about that was getting to tour their facility where they build it and how technically intense.
They
Yeah.
had it.
You
Yeah.
know.
They did one today. They did a live Facebook.
Yes, I saw that was
Did you
going to
see it?
happen. I
Yeah,
saw
it
Okay.
happened. Go back and watch it. It's a
Mhm.
very quick.
Mhm.
Aaron,
Oh,
Aaron Winnick Anthony is one of our wormholers,
Mhm.
and
Pinball Girl.
Pinball Girl.
Shout out to Pinball
She's
Girl.
fantastic, and she was holding the camera and interviewing David Van Ness, who is one of the
Yes. Yeah. David Van Ness is a really interesting guy.
yeah.
Indeed.
He doesn't always return my calls. He doesn't always.
Me neither.
He doesn't always text back, but he's a really
You
busy.
know what? He returns my calls. I'm
Okay.
kidding, Dwight.
Okay. We'll have to talk.
Okay.
By
I
the
got
way,
me
I
in.
have an idea for you.
Oh,
And if
please.
you want to
Okay.
edit this out, you
No,
can
no,
edit it
no.
out. So you remember at the festival, we were in the labyrinth, one of the labyrinth sessions. You were
Yeah,
sitting
and
in
I
front
was.
of it.
We were streaming with this rig behind
Right,
us.
right.
Yes, sir.
Well, but although I think you weren't streaming in this particular one. you
No,
were just
I was.
sitting
They were
there.
just
Right,
okay.
Right. And you were talking, we were talking about your rigs, and I said you ought to sell them. You ought to build them and sell them to other pinball facilities. And you kind of went, but you know what you ought to do?
What?
You ought to contract with Barrels of Fun to build them for you.
Okay.
Oh, to build rigs.
Yes.
So that every streamer in America in the world can have a streaming rig and get 30 people watching them at a time.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
sure. We have at least 45.
No, I'm joking. Listen, people tune in and they know what they're getting at.
That's right.
Okay. I'm
That's
sorry.
right. But
Hey.
but I think you've got a manufacturing facility that would do it for you. And you know, there's lots and lots of places I think that have big collections of pinball machines
Yeah.
who would be interested in doing that. And you know, so what if they only get 45? You get your money.
Well, I like the idea, although the problem is I ripped it off from a guy named Jack Danger.
Uh-huh.
And Jack Danger is really one of the first pinball streamers, if you will. And then he now works for Stern, and he designed that Foo Fighters back there.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So he has a bigger trajectory than I think I'll have. But
Hey,
what I can say,
don't sell yourself short.
I know. God bless.
You're going to have your
She's one of
own
my favorite people on the planet.
ditto.
Okay. So
We're a little family here.
we are.
Trade seats.
No.
Okay.
It's okay. But anyway, he's pretty famous, and he designed this rig, and he basically sent it, gave the internet, here's the instructions, and I just followed it.
I see. So it would be uncool for you to.
Well, I've then upgraded everything from the original, and so this is all really a work of art. If you want to give me a second, because that rig.
Give you a second.
Whenever I see it,
Props
I'm
to
really
Jamie.
impressed.
Yeah.
So we got two
absolutely.
rigs now, and we're building a third. So we don't know. This is an interesting segue to the museum. I don't know what to do there, and we've got time, but we don't know if we're going to do this system with the rig system or something different. And I'm probably going to go with the rig system, but do 3 rigs there.
You can start with the rig because that obviously is mobile and you can move it around. But you could also have built into the ceiling, you know, cables and cameras that zoom in and so forth. So you could
we're going to get there. We're going to design it. We just need. I need expertise, someone to help me with that. But we are definitely doing some really cool stuff at the museum. So I have questions about the museum, but I don't want to interrupt you.
No,
I think you.
No, not at all. I was just. I
know.
This is how it happens.
This is how we go down a wormhole and
wormhole rabbit hole.
That's how we got the name. We never talked about this, but I'm going to segue very quickly.
Okay.
Before we talk about Wormhole East Museum, how we got the name for the wormhole. All right. So we were COVID here. It was me, Tim, John, Christine, Janine, and a handful of others. We're trying to keep our spider web tight because of COVID, and we were being good.
We were being good, and we were also going a little nuts at home and needing to get out and see each other.
October is when we put machines in this place. In October 2020, Tim and John were moving their machines in. None of these stickers were up, and none of this stuff was up. Right? It was just bare walls.
We need to tell the sticker story too.
Well, the stickers there's thousands of stickers been put over here, and Tim Hood has put on 98% maybe 99% of every sticker. I think there's like 5 stickers there that Tim has not put on, and he knows it.
Tell me this when I was doing the Chronicle story.
Tim would come in here. I went
on the ladder.
I went crazy and bought him a ridiculous amount of
I remember
stickers.
that.
From sticker, I still get sticker mule
coupons.
They love me, and of course,
yes.
So we found stickers and stickers and stickers, and now I would present these stickers to Tim, and some didn't make the cut, and so they would get tossed into this pile, and they're gone now. The stickers that didn't make it, but he has placed the only sticker that he did not place in the beginning was a New York Yankee sticker that I placed there, right when you walk in.
Right.
And Pinball Mafia, our friends from Beaumont that Dwight was crapping on a little earlier.
I heard you crapping on
I was not crapping on the Pinball Mafia.
Crapping on them.
They put up one sticker.
City.
And and that is it. So that is the only stickers. That's one of our techs. That is our lead tech, actually.
He's amazing, Brian.
So Brian.
Yes.
That is what happened was Tim would be putting stickers up till 2 in the morning. We're playing video games. And all of a sudden now it's 3 o'clock and we got to go home.
Yeah.
And we've been here since 4 in the afternoon because I own a staffing company and there was no staffing going on during COVID. So none of us really, I was definitely not working. So I was here. And all of a sudden one day, Tim's like, this place is like a wormhole. It's like you're here all day. I can't believe. And then time's just a suck.
Yes.
And that's how we started calling it the wormhole.
Huh. That's great. I always thought that it was wormhole because when you drain, it's like your ball goes.
No, it's not really
Oh, no.
football related.
No, it's not football related at all.
It's just us
just-
being here
Yes.
and laughing that, oh my God, it's 3 a.m. I've got to get home and come back tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
So
And to rest up for tomorrow. And we put this, it's funny, I put this, so I did the construction build out inside here, and I put this gorgeous spiral pipe in, and I was so proud of this AC
which one?
duct.
Oh yeah, the AC duct. Yeah.
The AC duct. It's a spiral pipe, and it's really specialized, and it's a really nice upgrade of the HVAC system. And Tim comes and he comes to me and he's like, "Hey, would you mind if I put stickers on the pipe?" And I'm like, "Hell no. Hell no, we're not putting stickers on the pipe." Do you know how nice that pipe is? Like, it's a work of art. It's a focal point of the building. So I come up here and he's looking a little dejected, and we're kind of talking about it. And I mean, Tim's pretty independent, so he's going to do what he wants anyway. But it was nice that he gave me a nod, and like, we laugh with each other and kind of wrangle with each other sometimes. So he comes up here, and John Spates comes up to me and he's like, "Did you really say no to that? I heard that Tim really wanted to put
Such a
stickers."
Jeff thing too. He's gonna be listening to this and he's like, "Yeah, that's what I said."
There's a lot of history made public here.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes. Yeah. So John's like, "Hey," so Tim's definitely got some advocates out there. So John's like, I mean, do you really want to say no to that? And then Tim comes up later and he's like, are you really serious about that? Like, you really don't want stickers? And finally, I'm just like, okay, guys, okay. And I am not kidding you. The first sticker was on probably 15 minutes later.
He had a vision.
He did.
He had an artistic vision.
He did. And I really appreciate it now. It's so integral to this space.
The door's getting out of the hand. Tim started putting them on the door, and then some other people put some stickers on the door. So the door's not totally Tim. And I think he looks at the door with a bit of disdain.
You know what? Same word, right?
I think so, but you're gonna have to ask him.
See, if you'll notice, there's one thing about all the stickers on the pipe. They don't overlap.
Yeah.
And when you get to the door, they're all overlapping and covering things and touching each other.
Although, for a door, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Some of those
up here, you want to see. I mean, you get to see your pipe.
Yeah.
You get to see your pipe. You get both things.
We did both, and it worked out great. Right. And I really was not trying to be a buzzkill, but I just needed a moment with it in its glory of being this awesome piece of architecture.
You can kind of see it in the upper left above her head. Some of the stickers, what she's talking about.
So I can tell you, and I'm just making a suggestion.
Happier with it the way it is.
Oh my God, I love it.
I'm just making a suggestion here. Just kind of something I noticed. I'm just saying.
Oh no.
The bathroom doors are kind of bare.
Oh, Dwight.
Yeah. I'll buy. I know where to buy them.
Okay, we're editing that out, right? That right
I know where to buy the stickers.
Unacceptable.
That would be cool.
I knew that was coming.
That's unacceptable.
We'll do it.
What?
That sounds really cool. I'll buy the stickers right now. I got a whole list.
I feel like I'm going to get overrun. The first stickers.
First the pipe, now the bathroom.
It'll be cool. All right, Christine's turn.
All right.
What stage is the museum in? What the tentative title I understand is Wormhole East. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So what stage is it in, and when do you think it will open?
Okay, then we're just gonna go.
Let's go.
You could pull up.
Let's
you could
go,
pull up
Jamie.
Tim's quote. When I asked him what stage
It's
it's
an
at.
effing shit show right now.
Okay.
Literally, no. And that is totally said in jest. It's in permitting right now. It is. I can't really predict when it will be done. What we're discovering and what we're actually in the process of doing right now, all of us collectively, as we have our first board meeting this Friday, I feel like there's a lot of excitement building going on around that first board meeting.
This is the first board meeting?
Yeah, we're having our first board meeting.
Yes.
Our
first museum board meeting.
So how is a board meeting different from just the 5 of you sitting around here talking about what you're going to do?
Because
There's
There's
this one
there's
has
structure.
structure. Because as you notice in this podcast, you know what happens when we get together? Our structure goes away a little
Come
bit.
on. Yeah, thanks. That's
This is-
we're done with
I'm
that.
glad I
Yeah.
printed it up.
Yeah, thanks.
But-
I'm working on my airplane right now. Wait, I'm gonna work on the.
Is there
folding.
going to be a
Well,
sergeant at arms?
We are. You know what? It's going to be interesting to see how the dynamic goes in a structured meeting with all of us, because we get going and we start talking, and then
Mhm.
and it's all these ideas and they flow into each other, and then we start interrupting each other, and then it's just all of us talking at once, and it's just all this crazy great energy, and sometimes somebody will get annoyed, and then the energy changes a little bit, and then we
Yeah.
disperse, and then we get back together. And so I think that we've all started settling into what our role will be in all of this. And so I think that this meeting is going to be a way to say, okay, we all have our specialties and our expertise, our areas that we focus on or enjoy participating in the most. And let's now entertain all the ideas we have. Like you had mentioned, like one thing I'm going to add to the agenda is, hey, what about a streaming rig that we'll have some museum rows of pinball machines that are fixed. So there'll always be machines in those spots. So I'm envisioning on a football field, and you've got the camera that dips over the field. What
Yeah.
if we had a cable across that row of machines, and we could remote control where that
I've been all over it.
rig.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Exactly.
I know.
So,
I know. I'm
so-
all over it. I'm all over that. I can't
So-
wait to talk about that.
So it's going to be brainstorming. It's going to be, okay, how do we really want to proceed? How do we grow our brand that's already really been solidified by you, Jamie, and by John, and here at Wormhole with all of us. But John's now putting games in local breweries.
Hmm. Yeah,
He,
John's an operator now.
So are the games branded in any way that it indicates it's part of Wormhole?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think those are John's machines, and those that are Tim's just that they're not at the Wormhole that Tim wants to route out with John.
But it's an opportunity to raise the profile of the Wormhole with these machines,
is, but I think it is absolutely. And there are Wormhole stickers on the machines, on many of them.
yeah, I think there's
Mhm.
Wormhole magnets on them.
Right. But Wormhole doesn't have to become a black hole of consuming everything and all pinball in the city.
the other thing is,
So
Yeah.
I think that really it's an opportunity. I'm sorry to interrupt you. But it's an opportunity for John and Taylor to really, grow that part of a business, and make connections within the community, and really have some independent. It's like doing a solo. If you're in a band and someone's going out and doing a solo,
Yeah.
the band's still there to support them.
Even Eddie Vedder went solo. That's okay.
It is okay.
It's all right.
And so, yes, we are 100% behind that endeavor as far as our support and our encouragement. And many, many people who come to Wormhole are there working on machines or
Mhm.
playing in the tournaments that are
Mhm.
sponsored. But it's not really something that is specifically a Wormhole venture at all.
the one thing about putting those machines out there, and you guys kind of walk a line because you don't have Wormhole in and of itself. It's not like widely open. Not
That's
anybody
right.
can walk in
Intentionally.
intentionally.
What are you doing over there?
And so you
I'm making
have
my paper plane that we were
Yeah.
talking about earlier with my script.
That's right. And so you can't just go, oh, it's Wormhole. You can come because maybe you can't come.
Well, on those Mondays, we're only open 3 days a week.
Right.
The
Mhm.
Wormhole,
Mhm.
and we are open for events,
Mhm.
and you
Mhm.
can rent us, and you can check us
Right.
out at
Right.
wormholepinball.com or email us at wormholepinball
But
But it's parts
@gmail.com.
unknown.
Yes,
It's parts unknown.
indeed.
Yeah, but they can find the
HTX,
act.
parts
They can
unknown.
find the
Right.
address.
That's right.
If they need to, and but I think going back to Wormhole East, if you don't mind, how many pins do you think will be there?
I think we can put in 166.
Oh, Tim told me 120, but
I can find
I
a way
like
to-
166 better.
I think we can find a way to put in more.
That lead tech there,
Yeah.
it just, I think I just heard him fall. And I think I have a heart attack. Is he okay? You want to go check on him?
I need to go.
Brian, are you okay?
Brian, how are you? But actually, what's happening right now is that as in the vault, as games are shopped out and they're repaired, they are then becoming museum ready.
Yeah.
And so they'll be closed down and stored. And so this museum endeavor is starting now. So if the question was, when will it be ready? It's actually in the works right now. We're in the process right now of making sure that we don't fall into the trap that so many small businesses do, right? Of growing too fast.
Yeah.
And then you get there and you're overrun, or it is unprofessional, or it's not matching your vision. So by starting with our board meetings, with our board, all of us, we're creating the format for us to work together in this structure at least a little bit of the time, and then have fun the rest of the time. I think these meetings will be fun.
I think they're going to be great.
They're going to be great. They're all about how do we develop, how do we focus on our team building together. We work well as a team. And so this is about honing that relationship and all the contributing ideas that we can start working on now.
Do you expand? How do you expand the team? Because at some point,
We're not going to, because we're a cult and we want to keep that cult really tight. And
don't-
because
It's okay. Just don't
you're not supposed to tell anyone.
throw the secret hand sign. Okay.
Exactly.
That would be going too far. We'd have to edit that out.
Sure. I think, you know, we're
well,
always
and
picking
there's
up.
my third story. There's my other.
We're
story.
always exactly. We're always picking up people, when the wormhole opened in October, there were 10 of us tops, right? And now we've got tournaments where 40 to 50 people coming through here. Brian Foytik was not our tech of, he came to us and he loves machines. And you know what we pay him? Peanut butter cups. The guy loves
I know,
peanut butter
but
cups.
they're really doing good. Okay.
I'm not kidding, Dwight. And we just take care of him and we make
We
sure
do.
that these guys know.
And we try to take care of him with other fun
Yeah.
things along the way that are just spontaneous.
Mhm.
And
Hey, here's a thank you
it,
for you.
it takes a village. It does
Yeah.
take a village. And we're always
but
looking
can
for
you
more
do
people.
that at the scale you're going to do at Wormhole?
Well,
That's a
we're
challenge.
we're not gonna. I can tell you, just knowing Christine and Tim and Janine, who's helping a lot. They're not gonna open this
100%.
thing with 10 working pinball machines.
Mhm,
Okay, there's a
mhm.
place like that. It's called Vegas. We don't need to.
Jamie, you said you weren't going to do it.
I won't do it again.
It
Okay.
needed to be so.
These machines have to work. They have to be. They're works of art. You don't get to see terrific leg. Okay.
You can hear it if you
You-
live on the other side of the vault at 2 a.m. But hey,
So they need to be perfect, and that guy right there is making
Mhm.
sure they're perfect. And when they are perfect, and they're not coming here, they're going to be folded up in the vault, and they're going to have tags on them that say they're museum ready. And now, look, when you move pinball machines, everybody knows if something goes wrong, and,
Right,
and
right.
always.
always. But we're going to have techs there, and we're going to make sure it's perfect. So
The door's opening. Who knows when that will be
okay, I've
exactly?
been telling people maybe end of 2026,
I think so.
2027.
I think that's
Okay,
I think that's reasonable.
I'd
It's-
really like to have a big, like ribbon opening and invite all these famous people. Let's make that
Absolutely.
happen, Dwight. You should cover that. That's going to be great.
Oh,
Dwight, we have so
Brian,
many things
stop.
you should do. Okay, Dwight, we got
W-
if I'm not buying this retirement thing.
yeah,
He's
we
all
got
acting
time
like
with
he
that.
needs to retire and stuff. But
Neither
I've
am
got
I.
plenty of
All
stuff.
right, got
to,
one
like,
more
keep him busy.
question for her, and then we'll wrap this up.
okay.
Any design ideas that you could share with us, like vision of what you think is going to look like? Or you're not ready to go there yet?
Oh, I've thought about all of that.
I know. I
Uh,
just was curious if there was like an architect that you really admire as well that people could Google so that they could look at it and go, we don't have to give that. I'm just curious.
You're asking me to give up personal stuff.
Then let's not do it.
It took me like 5 visits with Dwight before I started
Yeah, but I've known you
becoming
for a long
myself.
time. All right.
Actually, we're working with this amazing architect called eStudio Architecture. Our team they're rock stars. You guys are rock stars. The structural part of the museum is in permitting right now. Dwight, as you've seen by being there, the building is from the late 1800s, and the foundation is not great. It's pretty old. It's been there for a while. And Houston soil is not great, as we know. And the walls are falling down, and we have a bee swarm that's residing there, and it's kind of
That's a lot of work to do.
yeah,
We'll get there.
It'll work.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But that's actually moving along quite well.
Good.
The interior design phase we've done quite a bit of work on that.
You've got full blueprints.
We do.
Not a lot of people have seen those.
Yeah,
things,
Dwight. No, Dwight.
I've seen it.
I know.
It's cool.
On the kitchen. Yes. We
So
have
one of the things that made me decide that I wanted to see the inside of it was because, a lot of people say, oh, we're going to do X, and X never happens. And it's kind of a dream. Right. And when Tim showed me the blueprints,
maybe it seemed like we were serious.
it's, I thought, okay. As I said, I think in one of our conversations, these are serious people,
yes,
as they said in Succession. And in doing that, so when you said you want to see the building, initially I said, well, I want to get this done. I want to get the story done. Damn it, I want it off my plate. But then the more I thought about it, and the more I thought like I had a really bad plate in front of me, I wanted to see it. And then seeing that and seeing how real it was, and then seeing the building itself, when I say it coalesced it, that's why.
Oh, interesting.
That's
okay.
why, because I saw this is real and this is going to happen, and I get to write about it. I mentioned it in the first story.
You did.
At the very bottom, just kind of tossing it off. And I said to the editor at the Chronicle I was working with, I said, there may be another story we could do soon on this. And she said, no, let's wait till they're just about to open.
Okay.
And I thought, I think there's something more there. So that's why, one of the reasons why I kind of nosed around that at first. And as I said, it wound up, the whole story became a carrot. The whole building became a carrot.
Did you cut out my whole segment? Because I thought I was going to get a page and a half. Just Jamie Birchall. No, just Jamie Birchall in the article, and they cut me all out.
So
I got like a little lie.
I will tell you this.
Are we limited to a certain time frame?
No. I'm talking about the Texas Monthly article. I got a line there. What happened to that, Dwight?
Yeah, Dwight. What did happen to that? I talked a lot about all the Wormhole 5, and I know that you don't have editorial control over all of it. And we are teasing you because we feel like we've broken the barrier of formality now, and we can give you a little business.
Happy to take it. I love business.
But it's tough to not have everyone have the same acknowledgement. And I think
I will go back to the focus.
Are we beating this? I think we're beating this too hard.
Joking. I'm being joking. It doesn't matter to me. It was a beautiful article about two beautiful people that I care deeply about, and it shows their passion.
Well, unless he went in and cut it, I talked about the Wormhole 5, and I talked to, because I didn't have that phrase. I didn't have that phrase in my vocabulary till you sent me that email.
Yes.
I went, oh, and if you remember, I asked you if it was Wormhole space 5 or Wormhole 5.
Right.
And so I cared about that.
Thank you. You did
to do that. And I have not kind of gone back and done a line by line, see what he left in versus see what got cut. Most of it, I think he did a really good job of editing.
I think it's a great article. I think anyone that wants to read it, please go to Texas Monthly.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I second
just
that.
do a search for pinball power couple, and you'll find the story.
Oh, if the penny bites back. Dwight, well played.
Well played. At that end,
I was saving it.
It was perfect. Is there anything else that we haven't spoken about that you'd like to address or plug?
Address or plug? Well, just I can tell you that this story about the cats at the old folks' home.
Yeah. Is it a good one?
Primo.
I mean, you're
Okay, we know it will be.
We
Can
have.
can you give us any little tidbits that haven't been released to the public yet?
Well, first of all, the big tidbit is I haven't even talked to an editor about who I'm
Oh,
writing
okay.
for.
Oh, okay.
But it involves an old folks
There it
home.
is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's an
It
article.
involves a retirement community where my mom lives, actually, and that has been around since the 60s. And as far back as anyone knows, there has been this colony of feral cats.
That are stealing their soul.
And the old ladies and old men who live there come out and feed them. I think much to the consternation of the owners and managers who just want them gone.
Oh, we have a friend, John, who
Has three cats.
has 3 feral cats in his yard. I'm sure he'd be happy to take on some more.
Absolutely.
We know exactly where they can go.
I know. We got to
We're
play the
gonna
farm.
have a stealth mission. We're gonna
It's across the street from my house.
Yeah, you will need that big. You'll need that.
drop them off in the backyard.
You'll need that big van of yours.
Okay, great.
How many cats?
How many cats?
I don't know. I haven't been able to count
Oh.
them.
I think.
There are probably dozens.
Oh, I can fit them in the van.
Dozens is no problem. No
Exactly.
worries. John can handle that.
You know that they clip when you take feral cats in.
Yes, they clip theirs, and I'd say about a third of them are clipped, which means there will be more cats.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
So I'm volunteering right now my services to come help safely help capture some cats, take them, get some ear clips done, get them fixed, and
All right.
then we can
All right.
release them back to their
Right.
their.
Right. I'll have my mother call your people.
Okay.
Oh,
yes,
that's lovely.
exactly.
That's
And
really
it-
nice. All right, guys, if you don't mind, I have a few pieces of business I need to
Business.
read. All right. And it's just
I
the end
love
of the
business.
podcast.
Oh,
So
before you do that,
yeah.
thank you so much for the article. We have very much appreciated having you become part of our community. We have been thrilled about the article and the care that you took in writing it, and just the good energy that you've brought to this community, and really the spotlight to all of our collective efforts. And I don't want that to go unsaid, that Tim and I wanted to thank you for that.
Well,
We appreciate that.
it's I don't play it as much as I want to just because I can't get out there and do it. But I have to say that pinball brings me joy, and I enjoy writing about it. I said when I did the first story, I don't want to I don't want to do the pinball beat, but here I am.
Yeah.
And but it brings me
I want to.
such joy.
Good.
And as I said at the beginning of this, it amazes me how nice everybody is, and you guys are the kings and queens of nice.
Oh, thank you.
So,
She really, they
We-
really,
all of us.
really are.
and
And
you are too.
No, it's all, he's talking about all of us.
I'm talking about the whole
all of
everything,
it, the
whole scene,
community,
the whole scene.
Thank you so
scene.
much.
It's amazing that, to me, it's amazing that Houston doesn't know about this as more than they do.
I'm kind of
But-
good with it right now so far until the
too.
museum opens,
Agreed.
and then they can come.
Exactly. Well, and this started as this really like underground speakeasy vibe, and we love that. So it doesn't mean that it's exclusive. It means that it's underground,
And, yeah, and we've kind of
deliberately
yeah.
not advertised.
and we've
Yeah.
glamored on to Space City Houston, right? I mean, just to give them the props with
Mhm.
Phil Grimaldi, Elizabeth Droney, Mark Ammons, David Pollock, all of them. Okay, John
Amazing.
Spade.
And all those
Mac
guys are incredibly
Quant,
nice. I mean, everybody in that group
Yeah,
is
but
really nice.
because what we did, I like stealing things sometimes, is we kind of stole what Space City was doing and we just put it on steroids here,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Okay,
And they don't
and-
mind.
they don't mind. No,
Well, we collaborate with them.
Yeah, we do.
Support all.
yeah.
We support Space City events. We support Bells and Chimes.
especially love bells at
Yes.
times, and they're having a big event here in a couple of weeks. But
That's right.
actually next weekend.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's on the
but
calendar.
thank you, Dwight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
This has been an honor to be
Oh my
here.
gosh.
I've really enjoyed it.
well, I cannot express my gratitude to Tim and Christine. And this is what
Don't even
I'm
go
going to
there.
do it.
Don't do that.
I have to do it. It's
no.
not really. It's like 3 lines.
Okay.
It's not even that bad.
Yeah, it is.
All right, here it
I
is.
have it.
See, it's not even that long. Here's the deal, and I won't even read it. They're just very gracious.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
they're very gracious I jokingly said they let us play with their toys. That is really nice. They would be very good playpen friends as we grew up.
Playpen.
Friends, because they let us
Playpen.
play with our their
In the same
toys.
box. We're in the
They
same
let us,
sandbox, right?
and who knew? They've been very close friends of ours for a very, very long
Mhm.
time. And Tim and John have sucked me into the world of pinball, and they're just lovely. And I love all them so much.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
you were not originally in the world
No,
of
I
pinball?
I wasn't. John and I didn't really know each other.
Mhm.
John Spates is Tim and Christine's roommate in college.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
And Tim and Christine.
Did he have the beard in college?
No. Oh, I should bust out some pictures of John. Bring him to the next
His
podcast.
beard is great. I love
His beard is epic. And
It's very
he grows it like in a week and a half. I mean, he really has skills.
Really?
there. No,
Curated.
it's really like a
it's
month.
curated and perfect, though,
Mm.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Not during COVID though. That was
Ew.
a rough one. Sorry, John.
Everybody had those beards. Everybody
He
had
sure
those
as hell
beards.
had
I
one.
need to get those pictures out too.
Anyway, I need to run soon because we got league tonight. But I just want to, they sucked me in by Tim when they lived in Pearland. Tim would go, come over, I got a new machine called Metallica. And I'd play it. I just never thought anything of it.
Mhm.
Right. I was like, oh, this is fun. He's like, you're really good at this. And I can hear him chiming in, trying to get me into it, but I'm just like, I can't. And it was John and Tim said, come to the league and go to Charlie's at Joysticks. He has a bar called
Mhm.
1820
Right,
next door,
Mhm.
and they had pinball league there. And there's 30 to 40 people that would come to pinball league and play these machines. And I just went and hung out. And I met this community and I met these pinballers and I fell in love. That was it. And then I started learning that these machines are different. Every pin is different and everything has a story. And it's a video game with skill. And Funhouse is totally different than Rick and Morty over there. And
one Funhouse machine may be very different from another. Funhouse
Exactly.
machine.
Absolutely.
That's
and
right.
the really great players, and I'm not one of them,
Mhm.
know those differences and can feel those differences, right? And they know where the tilt bob is, and they're just amazing. So Tim, I jokingly say, is a great cult leader. You would be as well. John's a very good first lieutenant of being a cult leader, and that's what we've really done here in Houston is just taking what Space City did and just take it to a different level. And
It is a cult. So
Mhm.
when we're done, let's go have some Kool-Aid.
yeah, and I
look.
got some nice sneakers for you.
Exactly. One of the other things I wanted to throw in, Jamie, you were asking me about the design for the Pinball Museum. Structural plans are in the city right now, and we have done quite a bit of work, initial work on the design inside the building. I really am. I can't disclose that
No worries.
because I would like to build the suspense.
Yeah.
And Janine and I need some time to meet with East Studio and build out the designs from what we've already had, what the foundation that we've already built. She and I need to get together and really take what the foundation is of the space design and just explode it out even more. So that's part of what will be happening as the foundation of the building itself is being repaired and restored, is all of us building towards the museum opening and fine tuning our roles and where we will be in that. But we will all be part of the board of directors. And I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how people emerge as leaders in their particular areas in these.
I think it's going to be really cool.
I think Janine's going to end up with a design company out of this, and we're going to have to like reel her back in.
She's excited.
Is she?
Yeah, she's pumped.
She's
And
amazing.
she's pumped. And anyone that knows you, and this is another, I can't help it, but she's a very talented architect. So anyone that knows, just come to the Wormhole and look at our fence and know all we needed was a fence to block out because people were walking in during COVID and walking up upon us. So we said, hey, can we just have a little fence? And then this beautiful fence. It didn't need to be that beautiful. And it is. And that's just a testament to how great this museum is going to be. All right, homework. You ready?
Yep, ready.
'Cause I got to shut it down.
Good.
So on Wednesdays, we are going to start. Let's start there. On Wednesdays, we are going to start a stream, maybe once a month, where we put the rig over the text,
Mm-hmm.
and we show people what the text you're working on,
Mm-hmm.
and involve the technical people on chat to help.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're also doing this in conjunction with Marco Specialties, which is a huge pinball distribution company of parts,
Mm-hmm.
one of the biggest part distributors in the world. And we're gonna tie in their stream. It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna something that we're probably gonna do at least once a month on the Wormhole Twitch channel, and then we'll put those VODs up on YouTube like we normally do. So
And
Yeah.
then that could be material for our documentary
yeah,
that we are starting as
we're gonna
well.
absolutely.
Are you going to do a documentary documenting the build out of the museum?
Yes, absolutely.
You got to. You got to.
Imagine
think
a
so,
time
too.
lapse, from today until it's built.
Yeah, get the cameras up.
Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone that could produce this for us?
Dwight's retired.
Oh, Dwight.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You don't want in
remember?
on this?
Dwight's retired. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, but
Oh, he's like,
Oh, see, he's already. I see. I told you they're cult leaders. I'm telling you, man. When they give you special sneakers and a sweatsuit to wear, you're gonna put it on.
I am in
I-
such trouble.
Look what I did. I put everything on. I put all this.
You didn't even know you were in trouble, and you're already the hot water's already hot.
That's right.
All right, you clowns.
The
Let me
frog
shut
is
this down
boiling.
before I
Yes.
get Miss League. I gotta practice. All right, go check out Space City pinball calendar and see where the pinball events are in Houston. Also, go check out Eureka Heights because John. Well, he's yelling in my ear
He's yelling around
because he's right. The
He's
Houston
right.
Arcade
Yeah,
Expo
get over here,
is
Brian. We need to see
no,
your face.
he's okay. The Houston Arcade Expo is right around the corner, and there's a color DMD sale going on there. Anything we need machines. Contact Keith Christensen. Contact anyone that if you need information about the Houston.
When is the
Expo.
Arcade Expo?
It's going to be October, the beginning of October.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right
it's
around
the dates have changed.
The dates
They're
changed.
moved a little earlier.
It was a little before the Stern calendar, the expo, the Chicago Expo. So that's going to hurt us a little, but I think it's going to be great. It's the week before the Chicago Expo. Thank you, Brian. May 20th is Wormhole's Monday 3X. Then May 26th, Aaron's going to be streaming live here for Space Bells and Shine Space Camp Finals. That's going to be awesome. You should tune in for that, Dwight. That's going to be badass. And then June 1st will be our Saturday 4X, sponsored by St. Arnold's Brewery, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
The 11th through the 13th of
Arcade
October.
Expo.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Mhm.
All right, guys.
That's
We
a wrap.
covered a lot.
We
We
did
didn't
great.
really focus on this.
Here's my
that
phone. I'm
much.
working on my airplane right now.
You guys did a great job. You did good.
It's your first podcast. How'd you do?
Oh, this is your first podcast?
Yes.
I didn't want
did
to.
not
I didn't
have
want to
to-
say it in the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you for not saying in the
You have a
beginning.
good presence.
Do I?
Yes.
Thank you.
And you have a good voice for it.
Thank you. I felt like I needed to modulate
Once
my
again.
voice, modulate or moderate my voice
Yeah.
because I'm not this way. You know how I am. My
Yeah.
speech pattern is a little bit different than most people's.
Yeah, you do. You got to think. You got to think.
Yeah, I'm a
how you're
thinker.
talking.
I
You gotta
do.
think how you're talking.
I'm purposeful about the words
Mhm.
Yeah.
as much, except I threw a lot of really
You know what
and
you can
likes
keep
in.
doing is banging that mic as much as you want because people are gonna love that sound.
Have I been banging it the whole
No,
time?
you just did it right now.
Like that?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Like that? Is that banging the mic?
Dwight, thank you.
Thank you.
What a privilege it was
Thank
for us.
you.
We really appreciate it.
When
And
does this go
so
live?
we
When do you
have
post
we
it?
have an editor now, and he is going to get the Zoom link in a few minutes,
Mhm.
and it should be up tomorrow, I think.
Okay.
Worst case Friday morning.
Okay.
But I will
watch it
tag you.
and I'll watch it before I send it over to my editor at Texas Monthly. So
Okay.
Okay.
You can watch and or listen. It'll be on Spotify and all the other places as well. And
I don't like to watch podcasts. I like to listen.
I do
because-
too.
Because it takes too much attention. You know, I like to.
Interestingly enough, our podcasts do almost 5 to 10 times more on the audio side than they
Oh,
do
do
on the
they?
I
video
think
side.
that's true in general.
It is.
I was a regular on This Week in Tech, the thing with Leo Laporte that has been on forever and ever. And he made a big deal out of doing video with it and for years and years. And I got a chance one time to look at his, who watched what, and it was largely audio.
Yeah, yeah.
Largely
It is. It
audio. I
is
think that's true.
tremendously different. We put it on as VODs up on YouTube,
Mhm.
and that'll get like 200-300 views.
And you also don't know how many people are listening to it, but not looking at it when it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Exactly. They just play it.
Right.
All right, we got to go.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Dwight, thank you so much.
Thank
Hey,
you.
you did great.
Thank you. I had a great
She was
time.
nervous, and there's nothing to be nervous about. Pinball is great, and what we're doing here is awesome. So,
Oh, okay. Brian's calling it.
All right.
We're done.
All right.
It's a wrap, folks.
it's a wrap, guys.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Bye.
Bye.